Hello everybody, welcome back to Wolfeei. Today we have a Minecraft event movement game ranking, where I rank all the movement games from MCC, PB, blockwars, and Minecraft Mayhem all together. There will be a little bit of a catch because some games may be considered a movement game through certain categorizing, but you may disagree. We'll see. Anyways, this video is pre-recorded. You'll see this in every pre-recorded video because I'm away. Anyways, here you go. Here is the tier list. If you watched the previous video, which I assume the PvP game tier list, which I just recorded, is already up now. You'll see that I am going to do a ranking, not of every single Minecraft event game, but I'm going to do the ultimate Minecraft event thing again, but updated, and movement games are part of it. But before I do the full Minecraft event, full combined thing, I'm going to rank every single category. Okay, so movement today. Anyways, so one thing you may disagree with is that Hole in the Wall and Rocket Spleef are included in the movement category. It's because I think movement miscellaneous is kind of its own thing, and yeah, these categorizations aren't exactly perfect because, like, Trailblazers and To Get to the Other Side are kind of like the same genre, except their formatting is different, and with pure skill, I think Trailblazers fits a little bit better, whereas To Get to Your Side doesn't fit as well. Anyways, yeah, here's the ranking. We're gonna do S to D tier. S will mean it's like the best of the best. D means that it's not great. C is like meh. B is solid. A is good. And then there you go. And then we have racing games in its own category. We have pure skill in its own category and miscellaneous. Racing is self-explanatory. Pure skill goes for the games that kind of test only one movement skill or test movement skill very directly, which is why Trailblazers is in here. Same with Voidbound. Checkpoint Champion is like just only parkour. Elytra Race and Hyperdrive are just Elytra. Jumping Mad, I think this is too, is also just parkour. Parkour Warrior is just parkour. Trailblazers is like parkour, dropper, everything, but in its own little bubble. But you can play it at any time. But when you play it, you only play one, and then you can obviously opt out and opt back in, but it's still like testing pure skill per category of movement. And Voidbound is essentially Hypixel housing formatted movement, marketed as a racing game, but it's not really. It's kind of odd. It's more like a, hey, if you fall, you're out, by the way, in 20th place, which is interesting. I'm gonna factor it in as pure skill because racing games typically have stuff like jump pads and elytra section and like trident section or like a speed pad, and Voidbound doesn't have any of that, so that's why this is racing game and Voidbound is not in there. Anyways, a miscellaneous game, self-explanatory. It's not a racing game, not a pure skill game, but somewhere in between, or it's still movement related. So Chalice, Chase, Hole in the Wall, Parkour Tag, Rocket Rush, To Get to Your Side. Anyways, let's start with racing games because it's the smallest category. We're gonna go from smallest to mid to largest. So starting with racing games, Ace Race is a very good movement game. I think it's obviously the best racing game, not by a super crazy margin because I think Blockers Race has caught up because of Obi's recent map magic, you know. Obi's cooked pretty hard. Yeah, I think Ace Race probably on first instinct is an A tier right now. I think if we're looking at these rankings overall, I think there's gonna be other games that might rank above it. I think Ace Race is a very good game, obviously, but I think similar to Sky Games in PvP, I think they've aged. Ace Race has aged decently well, but after having seen it 40, 50 times, whatever, right? After some points, it's like, yeah, Ace Race is still good, but is it the best? Meh. Maybe I prefer Hole in the Wall, as an example. You know, maybe I do. Again, these will be adjusted later because if on first instinct I think all of these are A tier, obviously Ace Race is going to go up. So I'm going to start at A. I think Blockers Race is right below there. It's about the same game-ish, or these could be like swapped. It's like whatever. I think Ace Race is visually nicer, which I think bumps it up some points. I think Block Wars Race, it's cool that we have an ice boat section, I guess. But that's and it's still a really good looking map. But Ace Race, as a full package deal, slightly more appealing. Rapid Racers, I think, is fine. I think one big thing that impacts Rapid Racers for me right now is that they haven't really had a new map properly. I think, maybe? I don't know. I haven't watched the 2 recent Mayhem, so maybe they haven't had a new map in those 2, but I haven't played a new map, and the first time I played was in, like, over a year ago, and the last time I played was, like, 3 months ago, so pretty big margin of the same map. Obviously, there's been changes made to the map, but it's the same map. I think in pure design, Rapid Racers is fine. Like, it's okay. It's like, yeah, solid solid game. And then speedrun, I think, is obviously deleted now, or at least seemingly it won't be coming back. I thought it was okay. It was just not as good as like a race or an ace race, so it was just kind of falling behind, and there wasn't really much that was able to be changed about it without just being the same game. So I think because also they had like pretty impactful like pure skill elements to it, which I think in a racing game isn't the best, but I guess for PB it's like fine. So I'll just put it in like low B. I don't think it's terrible. Maybe high C. Like it's like fine. I don't know. Like it's not bad. It's just fine. So yeah, we'll do low B for now. Next up is Movement Misc, where Chalice Chase is going to go in S. Now, the reason for this, similar to my Temple Lockout thing, as much as I may disagree with it because of my experiences, I know a lot of people really like it. Actually, I might go back on that. But I think Chalice Chase is a very good game in design. It makes a lot of sense. It's very intense. It is Hat King. For those of you who've played like Crab Game, it's Hat King. Round Robin game, obviously, is always very interesting. You have different opportunities to, do better against opponents. But yeah, I think Chalice Chase is a very good game. Maybe not S. But then again, is it worse than Ace Race and Race? I don't know, man. I think Ace Race, like, racing games are cool, but like, I don't know. It's like it's just kind of like fine. Chalice Chase is very intense, but it's another game where if you do bad, you're gonna hate yourself. So I don't know. It's like pretty solid, I guess. I'll put it in top of A for now. Next up, Hole in the Wall. I like Hole in the Wall. I think Hole in the Wall is very fun. I do acknowledge that Hole in the Wall hasn't really been changed much, so I can totally understand why people may be tired of it, because it has gotten a little bit stale, but I think it's one of those games where the core design is fun, so it's a fun game. I like it. So for me, at least A tier. Do I think Hole in the Wall is better than Ace Race or Race? I mean, I'd probably want to play it more, so yeah. Do I think Hole in the Wall is better than Chalice Chase? I mean, I'd want to play it more. Do I think it's a whole tier above? I mean, it has an inherent flaw of being slightly ping-based, because if you just have high ping, you can kind of phase through the walls, which if we're looking at a competitive element of gameplay, is a little bit silly. But I think it can still be a very intense game. Seeing people go out to the walls is pretty fun to watch, and also seeing people pop off is very fun to watch, and almost anyone has a good opportunity. So I'm going to go in S. Hate me if you want, but I right now my instinct's telling me Hole in the Wall is S tier. It's pretty fun. I mean, it has one inherent flaw, but so did Meltdown in the rankings, and it was an S tier. So I think Hole in the Wall is great. I do hope that it's possible for them to maybe be able to switch it up a little bit sometimes, but cool game, good game. I like, big fan. Parkour Tag's up next. Now, Parkour Tag is a game that I actually thought was pretty fun, but I know that it's not very popular. And, I think it's overhated. I think Parkour Tag can be very intense. Do I think it's better than Chalice Chase? In pure design, no. Do I think it's below racing games? probably. Like, it's a cool game, but like, it's not gonna be like better than an ace race for sure. That's definitely not the case. Anyways, moving on. Rocket Spleef Rush. Look, this would have been the easiest S tier of all time, but with the recent change, it's definitely not gonna be the easiest S tier of all time. I still would lean to it being S tier, but I think similar to Chalice Chase, the fact that someone can just grief you and it pisses me off. Like I would probably get pretty mad if I get griefed by someone because they can. They've turned a cool movement game into a movement game with PvP, where PvP is actually worth going for, which is interesting. But Rocket Spleef Rush, I think, still probably ranks pretty high. I would probably want to play it more than the games in A tier, regardless of the change with the wings like breaking. But I still think it's good. I mean, despite the new change, I fully agree that the state of Rocket Spleef before the change was, in my opinion, better. It would have been here, now it's here. To get to your side, I don't like it. I've already expressed my hatred towards To Get to Your Side. Do I think it's D tier? It's debatable. Compared to some of these movement games, playing To Get to Your Side would definitely not be my favorite, but I don't think I'd hate it that much. So I'm gonna put it in C, because Terra Swoop Force is goated, and some of the To Get to Your Side maps are pretty cool and fun, and you know, I would enjoy it. But in general, not my favorite, definitely, and potentially candidate for D tier. But that is because it is also up against quite a lot of heavy hitters in terms of game design, because I think movement games in Minecraft events can be pretty good. But now we're going to go to the tier that I think I will be the least, you know, happy or nice about. That is pure skill, because, God, why? Starting with Checkpoint Champion, which is just a parkour course, and that's about it. It's like meh. It's not bad. It's just meh. Like, I don't know. It's not a game that I would probably ever look forward to playing. It's not a game that I'm going to be excited about. And I think the only people that are going to be actually excited about playing the pure parkour game are the people that are good at pure parkour and nobody else. So, yeah, not my favorite. Definitely not. Elytra Race is up next, and, you know, Elytra games are in concept very fun, but I think in terms of both PB and Mayhem, the issue with Elytra Race, which I don't think is their fault, but it is a choice that they probably had to make when making these games, is that maps are kind of single use. Like, once a map has been played once, people are going to be able to figure out how to play it, and at that point it's no longer going to be fair. It is going to be a requirement to do your homework to be able to do super well. Obviously that won't count for exactly everyone, but if you want to have a chance as a non-top player, you're gonna have to do your homework, and that is meh. It's not terrible, but it's meh, and that's why it's gonna land in meh. Do I think it is better than To Get to Your Side? Probably. Hyperdrive is just better. I don't think Hyperdrive is like bad. It's fine. It's it might rank a little higher. It's just, in my opinion, a little bit higher. There we go. I think it's fine. It's a cool game in concept, but it's a game similar to Voidbound, where if you make one mistake, you no longer have a chance of getting top 5. You're now in 21st. So, yeah, not my favorite. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm negatively biased because I'm bad at the game, but like, yeah. And Elytra Race kind of has to land similar, doesn't it? It's kind of just almost the same game. So we'll bump that one up too. It's just fine. I don't know. It's just fine. And then Rapid Racers, I might bump up a little bit too. Because if we're bumping these up, because they're like not bad. But no, we'll put it here. Anyways, Jumping Mat 2. It's just a parkour course, but slightly better. So it'll be in like C, but high. Just a little high. Yeah, because I'm gonna rank Parkour Warrior probably here. Probably at the yeah. Probably the bottom of B tier. I think Parkour Warrior is fine. I think it's a solid game. But the issue with Parkour Warrior is that it's just parkour. But the way that they changed it is by adding blocks that fade out and fade back in and disappear and reappear. And that is interesting in terms of differentiating the gameplay. However, another thing that I think negatively affects Parkour Warrior is that it is obviously also a game on MCC Island, and specifically for Parkour Warrior that is very impactful because the gameplay is almost identical to that of Island. And that's cool for their Minecraft server, but not great for the event because it makes it not very interesting to watch. And I think in terms of playing, probably wouldn't be the most interesting to play, but I don't think it would be bad. I think it'd be okay, which is why it's in B. It's meh. That's my opinion on it. Next up is Trailblazers, and I think Trailblazers is a solid entry in terms of movement games. I think it's not going to be in the good tier. Maybe it hasn't been played enough times, but it definitely would be at the top of B for me. I just think it's, it's like fine. I don't know. It's fine. It's a solid game. It's like cool, I guess. Testing different movement skills, cool. Is it a little bit complicated to understand right now? Yeah. Definitely some room for improvement, but solid. I'm in favor of it. And then finally, Voidbound. I'm going to put this in D for now. There's definitely a lot of room for improvement, but I think this game feels very rushed right now. The map, like the visual map looked unfinished. The game design doesn't feel proper, and I think it has flaws that PB did not need for their newest entry into the roster. I also don't think PB really needs another pure movement game when they already have Jumping Mad and Hyperdrive. So I think it would have been better if they had, an entry of a different genre of game that isn't also PvP. But I don't know. I'm definitely going to be negatively biased here, and don't take my word too seriously because obviously my team didn't do great and I just didn't really have a super fun time. But I know other people did. It's just, in my opinion, probably not great. That's my thoughts, though. Let me see these rankings and see if I want to adjust them at all. Also, very interesting to see that MCC has 6 entries here. PB also has like 4 entries. Blockwars has like 2, and then Mayhem has 3. Oh no, PB has 5. Yeah, never mind. Anyways, I think this S tier definitely is still the case. You could argue that these two games shouldn't be considered in the movement games ranking because they are miscellaneous games more so. So if we're gonna take them out of consideration for now, I will adjust the rankings again in terms of movement games. I think Ace Race and Race would have to move to S tier. Chalice Chase probably stays in A. I think this is a better way to rank it because it's a bit more accurate. Trailblazers would go up a little bit. But then again, I also don't think Blockwars' movement games are that much of a strong suit. So I don't know. But I guess in terms of these racing games, if we're excluding Hole in the Wall and Rocket Spleef, the racing games are S tier. I think they're just the most interesting overall. And I think Ace Race and Race are the better examples in terms of racing games. Chalice is good. Parkour Tag, I think, is good. Trailblazers, I think, in terms of overall ranking, is nearing good, but like solid. Definitely has some room for improvement, like mentioned. Rapid Racers is like an okay racing game. I think it goes a little higher. I do think it deserves to be in A tier because I think it is good. I just think they need a new map. Hyperdrive, I think, is solid. It's definitely interesting to watch, but I think for the majority of the player base, it won't be as interesting to play because you're going to just get last consistently because other people are way better because it is a very niche, pure skill that people happen to be pretty good at. Then I think, the speedrun definitely ranks low still. Elytra Race, similar to Hyperdrive. Parkour Warrior might go up slightly. Maybe like here-ish. I still think it's a little bit flawed. Jumping mat's fine, like it's not bad, which is why it's in meh. Like I don't know, it's just whatever. And then to get to our side is fine, and then check my champion's okay, and then void bounce, meh. Anyways, that's my ranking. Let me know your thoughts, and yeah, movement games, baby, they're pretty interesting. If we're gonna include hole in the wall and rocket spleef, that would be S+. Here, I can add an S+. Add a row above. S+. That's where you get hole in the wall and you get rocket spleef. Boom. Here's the ranking. S+ will be what, purple? There you go. There's my movement game ranking. Let me know your thoughts. I'm sure a lot of people will have opinions on this, and I'm sure I have upset some people because, of course I have. Anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you all later. Goodbye.